Welcome back to Uncle Brent's Shed. This is just end of year, start of the year, where we're going and where we're at video. I've got a list of ideas in front of me on a cheat sheet that I've been adding to over the year. There's probably, at a rough count, 18 items on there. Probably get 2 done if I'm lucky next year. You know how it is. At the top of the list, we've got obviously the charger. That's been sitting on that horse for 4 years now. I haven't touched it for 2.5 years that I remember. Homemade camshaft grind. Now this is going to be some real butchery, but I want to try my best to do a reasonable job. I'm not just going to hack at it with an angle grinder. So I'll make a little jig up and set it up on a bench with a bench grinder, and I'll try to copy the lobes off another cam I have, so it won't be, yeah, it's butchery, but somewhere here I've got an old camshaft there. Oh, we're talking 318 too. Got it, yeah. 318 camshaft. Just surplus to requirements. Got a 318 hiding in the corner there. Yeah, so I've been meaning to do that, or wanting to do that, for a long time, so I reckon that'll be a laugh. I don't even care if it eats out in 5 minutes. I just want to see if I can grind a cam to make it sound lumpy. I was going to do an oil filter video. Do you fill your oil filters or don't you fill your oil filters? I recommend you don't fill your oil filters. For example, this old slant, this has excessive pipe work on it for the Australian slants. Many years ago, that engine, I filled the oil filter, started it, couldn't get oil pressure. I ran it for a total of probably 5 minutes, and it ended up starting to nip up, so I had to pull it down and put all new bearings through it. That's why when I originally done my engine start on that, I popped the oil pressure switch out, cranked it over till we had oil there. Then, you know, the pump's primed and the pipe to the filter. Don't fill your oil filters. I've heard of there's my cheat list, on Roadkill, Freiburger was working on a big block. They had no oil pressure and they called it burping the oil filter. So they cracked the oil filter off, let a bit of air bleed out whilst cranking it, and then they had oil pressure. So that's my theory. I was going to do a whole video on it, but I might one day. Still got that EFI Hemi over here. Yeah, so Hemi as in Australian 6-cylinder Hemi. I'll put fuel injection off of a 6-cylinder Falcon. There's the homemade manifold. It's a bit hard to see. Multi-point injection. It definitely needs a tidy up and get it running. That engine was mounted on that stand that I had that Hot 265 mounted to, this stand here. So I'll put that back on there. Get everything plumbed up. Right, next on the list is, I have a David Brown tractor that's been sitting out the front of my shed for 4 years after I bent the steering on it. And the last time I drove it, it was running rough as. When I originally got that tractor, I pulled the manifolds off it that were cracked, and the gasket had broken studs and all sorts. The carby needed fixing. but it had leaking valves, right? And I thought, I'm not pulling the head off of this engine. So there was enough valve stem sticking out at the top of the valve spring and retainer. So I put a battery drill on the top of the valve, the tip of the stem, and I was flicking valve cutting compound in the port and then spraying it in so to drop inside with CRC, and I actually valve grinded that head in situ without removing it. That's something I think I have to do again, and because it's old and worn out. I put oil in the cylinders, so theoretically, well, a little bit of compound would have went down past the rings, but it's a dinosaur, so it's pretty funny. But if anyone wants to see that, we'll do that again for sure. AP6 control arm bushes, what I've just done to this, I need to do to that. And I need to build a diff. We're going to build a narrower diff. And I'm going to show everything about cutting and shutting the housing. I have these Chinesium axles with, I'll turn this camera around, hang on. Right, sorry. So I've got these Chinesium axles with I think it's got about a 10-inch spline on there. 10 or 12 inches. Now, they are cheap, and I have heard that they do snap off. They actually snap off here, so you've still got your axle and your wheel bearing, but your flange breaks off. So I'll probably take that to work, put it in the lathe, and clean up this step that's here. I'll polish that out. Whether it makes a difference or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully do this diff video on a real tight budget. So I'll get a LSD diff out of a Falcon EB. Obviously shorten the housing, fit these axles, and we'll do a LSD. We'll go into the LSD center and show you how I not machine it, but relap the cones. And yeah, it's like the diff I built in that well over 10 years ago is so tight. It's it's awesome. What else we got? Dodge Phoenix. Really need to get back into this. I need to tidy the engine bay up. I also was doing a budget rebuild on the 318 that's been in a million pieces for nearly 3 years. Now, the problem I come with, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in a video there 12 months ago, I was cleaning the pistons up in the vise, and here's the pistons here, and I noticed I don't have any here, but here we go. It had two really worn bushes in the conrods. So I pushed them out and then pushed new ones in, and then realised that they need to be remachined to fit the gudgeons. Now that was 12 months ago, and I'm still waiting for them. A little bit of a pain in the ass, because I was hoping to rebuild this 318 for probably under $600, like a full freshen up, all new bearings, gaskets, timing chain, new timing cover. Timing cover was only $100. But now the con rods are going to cost me nearly $550, so it's completely blown me budget build out. For another $300, I can buy brand new rods off of eBay, but no, I'd rather put the original ones back in. Airbags. I'm going to airbag the back of this car as well. I've spoken about that multiple times. I want the mud flaps to drag on the ground. Probably put a steel strip on the bottom of the mud flap. Terraplane engine. That's been 12 months since we pulled this down. We just generally need to clean everything. We have all the parts. Gasket wise, we're just going to reuse the head gasket because that's fine. And all the other gaskets are just paper anyway, so we'll just make those gaskets up. I have a box of pistons here somewhere for it. Under there somewhere. There's a set of pistons and brand new rings. What else we got on the list? Obviously the 1UZ into this VC. I'm starting to lose interest, I'm not going to lie. I really need to get this other seal panel sorted. That seal panel. I'll probably just do I'd like to just bash that out in a weekend and just do a quick video on it because, this is starting to get a bit monotonous. Someone asked me about the top bushers, if I'm replacing them. I'm not at this point because I've explained how those bolts are seized. So we're just going to replace them bushers when we have to. So that's where we're at with that. Now I'm debating whether to cut down another Falcon diff and put in this, or I do have a Toyota Sora diff, which is just about the right length. It's a little bit wider, but with the camber, the top of the wheel will go inside of that guard. So that's where I'm at with that. Now I want to do a turbo 245 because I have a 245 block with the V8 pattern on the bell housing, which come out in the mid-70s for some reason. It was something Chrysler done. They couldn't get the normal 6-cylinder transmissions, so they were putting V8 ones behind. I actually have 2 of those engines. So the plan is to freshen one with second-hand parts. I have a good second-hand crank, second-hand bearings, second-hand timing chain, second-hand cam. The only thing will be going in that'll be new will be gaskets, and I have, where is that? Somewhere I have a fully ported 265 head that'll go on it. 265, yeah, that'll lower the compression. And somewhere else I have a Max Heating Rods Turbo that was given to me about 2 years ago. I might put that on there, and I think we'll go with a blow-through carby. I don't even know what that turbo is. Yeah, anyway, that turbo's here somewhere, and I might actually buy another one because they're cheap, just because I don't want to go to the trouble of putting it all together and it blows up. At least I'll have another one turbo to slip on there. And because it's a V8 pattern on the back of the block. I want to do a 904 with a stage 2 Transgo kit. There's my old box from the Trans. I put in that 25 years ago. I built that and it's awesome. It's really sharp shifting, and I've never checked the oil in that and never changed it. I've literally done 11,000 miles in that car in 25 years. It's actually due for a paint job. Again, it'll be the third time I've painted that car, because it's coming up nearly 40 years I've owned it. The old white VCU that I got outside, that's a runner driver, but it just needs a tidy up. I might put some club reg on that one day. Rightio. Next on the list is, I have an engine, old 202 engine on a stand that runs. I was thinking about doing a key banger video, just trying different lengths of exhaust and different style muffler boxes and homemade muffler boxes, and see if there's some sort of theory we can come up with for the best design, you know what I mean, for the biggest bang for your buck, if you know what I mean. So that's something else. Right, I need to mock up a 318 to a T5. This AP6 here has got a 318 mocked up in it. It's got I think it's a Delao bell housing and 5-speed already in there. So yeah, it's got the proper engine mounts in there. Like I said, that engine's mocked up in there with I'm pretty sure it's a Delao bell housing and the 5-speed. It's already in there, but I need to mock up like you know, the flywheel, the clutch, and get all the thrust bearing and arm, all the accrements of that sorted out. I bought a 9-inch housing at a swap meet, and we'll go and have a quick look. So I picked this 9-inch housing up at Gawler swap meet. Obviously it's been well shortened, very well shortened. Looks like it's been mocked up in something. So I paid $100 for that, basically just for the pumpkin. I'd like to be able to build a shortened diff using probably another set of those Chinese axles, disc brakes, and I'd like to be able to build that for under $1,000. And then obviously it'll go into one of my Valiants. Yeah, so there's the old David Brown. I bent the steering on it, got hooked up on a car when I was going backwards, and sort of give it a bit of pigeon toe. Yeah, but that, so you can see that homemade gasket in there. Something else I need to sort out too is an oil filter, because it had so much sludge in it. I'm pretty sure it's blocked the oil filter, and it has no, or next to no, oil pressure. And I probably could pull that little sump off underneath and give it a wash out, because it sort of had a blown head gasket. Well, not blown, it was just dumping a bit of water in the oil when I first got it, and I put a couple of bottles of Hemi wells through and it sort of fixed it. So this AP5 wagon, I want to sand all that blue paint off. It's thin anyway, thin and chalky. Just sand it back to what's left of the original white paint. See, the white paint's all worn out as well, and going back to the red-brown primer. And I'll just leave it like that. I'm thinking, oh, this car's been on fire too at one point. See how everything's been burnt. pretty lucky that the car didn't get totally burnt out. So I was thinking if I did do that turbo 245 and auto, I'd like to put it in this and probably try to attend the drag week we have here in Australia. For me, it's sort of a big deal because it's like 1,000 Ks just to get there. I know people come from Perth, but obviously they have money. But I'm pretty sure I could build this car real cheap. Maybe that 9-inch could end up in here, I don't know. But anyway, if someone wants me to build this up, let me know in the comments, I suppose. And while I'm out here, I actually have 3 Volkswagen Beetles, but this one here is the better one out of the 3. I want to build, got a bit of a soft spot for them. They're pretty cool once you once you have a look at them. The best thing about a Volkswagen Beetle is washing it. When they got good paint on them, when you're just washing those big curves, like there is nothing better. Pretty cool. Now I want to build a mild 1600 twin port engine for this. I've got a lot of stuff. I just got to do it. And paint wise, I just want to sand that green off. I think it's orange underneath of that, and then sand it back to what's left of the original white. So basically what I want to do with this. So I've got plenty of projects. AP6U, that's got a 4-speed in it. Anyway, back into the shed. So that 9-inch, I paid $100 for the housing. I think it's $350 for 2 axles. Wheel bearings are normally $50 a side. So it's just a matter of finding a cheap center and a decent set of gears. I know gears, you can pick them up reasonably cheap. So the housing and brakes will probably end up being EB Falcon or EBD, whatever, to make it cheap. Slant 6 manifold. I bought a manifold at a swap meet. It's funny, it's the same swap meet I picked that 9-inch housing up, but I probably got these 5 or 6 years ago. So obviously these are off of a someone's made them for a an altered or something back in the day. I paid $10 for them. I couldn't leave them there for that. So it looks like they've gone with, can I get my camera right through there? Yeah, you can see they obviously tried to make a butterfly shaft through the guts for the inlets. I don't know how they would have done. Those inlets sort of line up with the, yeah, they must have had short trumpets or something on them. But the other thing I've noticed, there's ports here that are plugged, and there's ports there as well for fuel, or who knows, nitrous. But when you look inside, they're pretty cool. I'd like to just put them on a slant, and even if I ran it on LPG, just to hear it. Can you see that little port down there has a little tongue over the top of it, sort of to direct the fuel? Yeah. It'd be good just to hear them run. That's it. That's all I want to do. I don't want to put them on a car and drive it. Just want to hear it run. Right, the last thing on my list is what I've bought from eBay and where are they now. A lot of it's positive, but there's a few shit show stories in between, so that's all good. That's what you get for shopping abroad, you know. Alrighty. Right, I've got two things. I need to do the wife's car, Ford Territory. I need to repair the front seat. It's a little bit wobbly, so I'm assuming it's got cracks in the base. So it's just a matter of pulling the seat and stripping it. So I might video that, because that's similar to BA Falcons. Their seats are always failing and collapsing, so might be able to learn something there. You can see how that something going on with the base of this seat. She's flexing a bit. And the other thing is, it needs all the diff bushes replacing, which I've been putting off, believe it or not, for 6 years, because that's how long ago I bought the diff bushes. So it's well overdue to get all that done. So we'll be doing that at some point as well. All right, so I think we'll leave it there. I'll leave the eBay stuff for now, because this video is already too long. All right. So cheers for watching, and look after your mates. And I've also come up with an idea of when you have all this random bits and pieces that you don't quite want to throw away yet, but you have nowhere to store them because you're unsure. We now have a dregs bucket. So that'll probably be full in a week.